recording, so it's probably great that we do
Yes.
have our cameras on, because I have
Yeah.
had requests to basically record for a couple of the parents that aren't coming, but this is going to be a small group, which I'm actually quite happy about. We probably won't be more than 5 or 6 students in the class, so it's going to be a nice tight group, which I quite like. Normally my classes don't get bigger than 10. I do have a couple of classes that do grow, and that's my fault because I accept even after I've said I'm not accepting anymore, but I just feel so sorry for everybody. But I've gotten better. I've gotten much better. So I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Teacher Nick. Everybody calls me Crazy Teacher Nick or Nick. I prefer that the students call me Nick, or if they really want to, Teacher Nick. And the reason for that is that I want that connection. I don't want the students to ever feel like they can't ask any question, that they can't say anything. Because all thoughts, all ideas are absolutely valid when it comes to IGCSE English. We want the interaction. We want the students to think. And as much as it's English, everybody always says to me, oh, whenever they find out I'm an English teacher, they all say, oh, pardon my English. It's not about that. The IGCSEs and AS level English, yes, sure, there's sentence structures and there's all of the grammar rules and syntax rules that come with it, that we do work with. But the biggest idea behind the IGCSEs is getting our students to become thinkers. And it's in the universities in the UK, one of the biggest problems we had was students arriving at university in their first year and basically waiting for handouts, waiting for the lecturer to tell them what to do. And so we decided, well, English is going to be the place where basically we can teach them to become critical thinkers, to think for themselves, to make decisions for themselves, and they're going to learn English. From IGCSEs to A levels or AS levels, a lot of the work is, and I say the same. The only difference is if IGCSE was paintball, then AS level is kind of a full-scale wall, if that makes any sense in terms of the levels. So there is a big drive, and that's what we do at IGCSEs, is we prepare the students so that it's not a massive surprise when they get to AS level. They've got all the tools to take on AS level confidently. So I have got a little presentation that I've prepared just to give you guys a quick overview of the offering, I suppose is the best way to put it. So your screen is going to ping, and this is how it would work for the students in classes as well. So I need to open this first, and then go here, and then go here. I can hide that. Okay, so one of my students designed this logo for me. CT Education. I said to them I wanted something that shows who I am as the teacher and what's important to me, and the environment is very, very important to me. So that's why we have the panda and obviously the plants. It is a C, and the CTN stands for Crazy Teacher Nick. It's kind of become my nom de plume all these years that I've been teaching. And Obviously, the panda from, if you know the book, Eats, Shoots and Leaves, is the play on words that we had there. So my proposed start date is going to be on Tuesday, the 18th of July. And that is basically the first Tuesday kind of after the July school holidays. Now, my parents begged me to give school holidays because I never did. I was very horribly mean like that. But it's actually worked out very, very nicely. I've changed, obviously, my curriculum style a little bit, but it actually is really nice because I'm finding that when the students come back from their breaks, they're refreshed, they're ready to go and get back into the work again. So that's why I kind of started doing holidays. So this is the exam dates that I assume you folks are looking towards. Now, especially with the IGCSE students, there's always this panic of, is my school going to, is my student going to be like they are in a normal real school? And that is actually the joy of GCSEs. Okay, is that we can plot your GCSE and your A-level journey according to the student, and according to basically how you want your child to learn, essentially. So I've always run what I call a standard class and an extended class at both GCSE and A-levels. And all that basically meant is that on the standard level, you would have less breaks, but the students would basically have about 9 months, give or take, to prepare themselves for the exam. And then the extended would basically mean that they would be starting at they would have basically more time. It's roughly about 16 months. Now on the GCSEs, that is pretty much a lot of time. That is quite it's almost too much time. And I find that the students, tend to feel almost a little unchallenged. So I'm changing things a little bit in terms of, and I've mapped it this year with my 2 GCSE classes. They are still, even though the one set will only be writing in May 2024, I'm keeping them at a very similar pace to ensure that they don't get bored, which is the worst thing for a student, is to get bored. Students know that. So I'm keeping similar pace between my standard and my extended class. And what I found with the one class from last year, some of the students in that were on the standard class, they decided that basically they wanted to move to the extended class mainly because they wanted to manage the dates that they write their exams. So I said, fine, it's very easy to shift students between the classes because obviously the work is all exactly the same. So whether your aim is to go for the May 2024 exams or the October 2024 exams, I can still manage the student individually and move them into a different group if they decide to basically that they only want to write in October. And in that time, then the same as I'm kind of doing with some of the extended class from this year is we'll basically then, because you will be fully prepared for the exams and all you'll basically be doing is practice exams in preparation. And it's great because now you know that where your level is. By around May 2024, you'll know where your level is, and the practice papers will only enhance your learning if you're aiming for that October 2024 exams. So that is what I'm proposing at this stage. And another reason why I'm kind of keeping the group smaller so that I can have a much closer monitoring of the students. And I know it sounds terrible, like I don't monitor every single student. I do. Every single student is monitored. And I do send reports, kind of every month or every second month on their progress. So that basically, and this is really important, but I'll get to that just now. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping ahead of my slides. And then the holidays are going to be, so I've got no holidays planned between July and the 15th of December at this stage. Again, my parents always tell me we want a small break, probably around about October time, which will be fine. We can make accommodations for that. But then there will be a month's break roughly from around about the Friday, the 15th of December. We'll close shop. And then we'll go through the 10th of January 2024 will be a Wednesday. And then we'll start classes again on the Wednesday. And then we will continue in preparation for the May-June exams for those students going for May-June, and October for those students going towards the October exams. So my fees, so for the one student and still within the 2023 series, basically it's $960 per month per student. If there are two students, two children, so for example, if I have a child on AS level and IGCSE level, and I know that there is a parent who's not here tonight who is going to basically be having, because one of their children already on AS level, they've been through the GCSEs and are now on AS level with me, and now I'm getting the next generation. So their fees for the other students obviously drop, and then it'll be $720 per child. For a third child, obviously the fee drops. And if there is a fourth child, we crowdfund together and we buy the family a TV. Okay. So that is basically the breakdown for the fees. Okay. If you do have a fourth child in that, I've never had it before, and I'll probably the fee will drop as well, because I can't imagine what it must be like to try and feed 4 children. I only have the one. It eats me out of house and home. Okay, within those fees, there is no hidden fees. With a lot of the tutors that you might speak to, they might talk to you about enrollment fees. They might talk to you about all the other strange fees that I've heard from my parents. There's no enrollment fees. There's no weird fees. There's no fees for a picture of me. None of that. Okay. I try and keep my fees standard so that you know every month what you're going to be paying in advance so that you can plan, your lives as well. There is a free digital textbook, which is provided to all students when they join the classes. Parents are welcome. Some students prefer a hard copy. Very happy you can order the hard copies. If you let me know in advance, that you wanted to go for the hard copy textbook, then I can speak to my people. I have people. And then when they next do a bulk buy, then they can kind of order all the books together at the same time. It just makes it just a little bit cheaper than trying to buy it all one at a time. But the books are all available at any good bookstore. Lumla is a good one, and Lumla now is also kind of posting, so you can actually order from them. They've got pretty much all the stock on hand. The fees obviously are going to include any exam preparation, any marking of exams, any catch-up classes. So what happens sometimes with catch-up classes is student is ill, misses 1 or 2 classes. Like some of my students, they just went over to the States to win a robotics competition. So they were away. They did come to some of the classes when they were in the right time zone. And I've had students join classes from some of the strangest places. Caravan park in Germany, the side of Table Mountain, you name it. Oh, my best one was still New Orleans, the train station in New Orleans. That's still one of my favorites because I love New Orleans. But it is the nice thing. But if students do miss classes, I do record all the classes, so students then will watch the video. And if they still need extra support because they had questions that they would have asked in class, they just ask me, can we organize a catch-up class? And I say, sure, we make a plan, we find a time, we have a catch-up class so that they don't get left behind. Parents receive regular feedback. So that would basically be kind of the results of the assignments that the students are doing, any exams that we do. So at the end of each term, I do run kind of like a mini exam, and any of the students that are listening, don't worry, it's okay. I do prepare you so that you're confident for the mini exam, all exams. So you'll get feedback for that as well. The fees are paid in advance. I mean, if you decide to basically change and move to somebody else, there's no like, I don't know, what is it called? Where there's no like, you don't have to pay for the rest of the year, or there's nothing like that. You just tell me, yo, teacher Nick, we've decided that we're moving to, downtown Bogota. We'll be gone for 2 months, then, that's fine. I've got no problem with that. Let me know, and then we can close fees. I normally send out my invoices on the 28th of each month, and holidays are discounted. Now, this is important because, I mean, if for example, there's 2 weeks out of the, in a month, if 2 of the weeks are holiday, then obviously the fee gets cut into half. So you would pay half of what your normal fee is. If it's 1 week, then obviously it's 1 week's fee that kind of gets removed from the fees. So I try really, really hard to basically tell you in advance what the dates of the holidays are so that you know which months you will be paying full fees, which months you're only paying half fees type of thing. Because it's really important. I know as a parent how important it is to be able to plan in advance. So that's all of those, the money stuff. Classes. Okay, so students join classes for 4 hours per week. Okay, that is the minimum requirement by Cambridge that students have to attend, 4 hours per week. One of those classes is a 2-hour class. And the reason we have a 2-hour class is because the exams are going to be 2 hours, which means that from GCSEs and even up into AS levels, I need to prepare the students to stay focused for a full 2 hours. So the IGCSE paper, for example, most students finish with between average around the world of all abilities, finish with between 7 and 15 minutes to spare on the paper. Which means that basically the students need to learn to start practicing to concentrate. And even the teacher struggles with concentration sometimes. So I know how difficult it can be, but if we know and we've practiced that when we get to English class and our head's in the game for that full 2 hours, and I do give a break, don't worry, I can just see the students all like going, oh my God, never, this is like death. Don't worry, there is a break in between, a short break in between, but obviously as we move closer to the exams, the breaks kind of get shorter and shorter and shorter, so that basically we're kind of like super soldiers going into the 2-hour battle. And then we come out the other side and everybody else is like lying on the ground going, I can't cope. And my students are like, oh, give me another hour. I am prepared. Okay, so So that's why I have the 2-hour class before everybody goes. And then notice we have the 2 1-hour classes, which basically kind of help us. So this is the proposed timetable that we have. It's what slots into my hours at the moment. So on Tuesdays, it's from 10 to 12. Okay. Thursdays from 10 to 11. And then on Fridays, because this class is the newbie class, you get the late shift because everybody else on the Friday just decided they're shifting up so they can get to their weekends earlier. But you're the newbies, so you get the 12 to 1. But the idea is in that class on a Friday, what is really, really important is socialization. So for the first kind of like 45 minutes of the class, 40 minutes of the class, obviously we're doing work and you know, we're catching up on work and doing things like that. But I do what I call Friday fun time. It's only for the GCSEs, so don't tell the AS level. So we play things like Gartic Telephone, or we go on class outings. Okay, I know you're thinking this is an online class. How do we go on class outings? Trust me, we go on class outings. We go and see things. We go on like tours of Madame Tussauds, or we go on tours, you know, around London or Paris. We go to all fabulous places. Okay, so you know, and it's 15 minutes and we chat. So I mean, we've had classes where we just basically have talked about movies or whatever. We do have a Discord server where I have some of my senior students. They monitor it. But the Discord server is also just a place for the students. I do run around and looking at what you're all saying. But the idea is that it's meant for students to basically chat, and it's AS levels, A levels, GCSEs. Everybody just chats in the Discord server, and because it is important. You know, oh, I'm studying biology, you know, and then someone says, oh, me too. I've got these great notes. I want to share them with you. And then, you know, they just make these amazing friendships. So it's the Discord server is really helpful. But it's those Friday classes, those last 15 minutes where we chill and get to know each other, that basically, you know, it's meant to be fun. My classes are meant to be fun. I'm meant to be fun. Because we learn better when we're having fun. So, what happens next? So I will send out enrollment forms to all the parents and that. If you already have a child enrolled, you know, you don't have to fill out an enrollment form. And I know some of the parents have already let me know that they're definitely in, that are not here in the video. So don't worry about the enrollment form for those parents that have students that have been with me or still are with me. I've added the names because I got your details, so everything is cool. I'm going to run an introductory class, which is going to be on Friday the 30th of June, which is kind of like just before the standard classes go on break. It's just going to be a fun meet the teacher. By that stage, I'll have everybody's emails. I'll have set everything up, including your classroom. So there's a classroom where you access all of your assignments, where you submit all your assignments. For any of the parents that still want to have a one-on-one, please just drop me an email. Give me a time. Normally after 2 o'clock is pretty good. So like 2:30-ish is a good time, so I can get something to eat, and then so I'm not looking like in the meeting. So I normally kind of turn off everything, hopefully by about 6 in the evening. But anytime kind of, if you want like a after 6 o'clock chat, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. Okay. Questions. So please ask questions. My parents are very important to me. If you've got questions about IGCSEs, anything, and if I can't answer it, I will introduce you to my other parents. Because my other parents have been through me, and they've grown, and I've grown with them, and they become like my family, and we all chat, and I get memes from my parents, and I get messages from my parents, and they're so helpful. They've been through the process. Some of them have already finished the process and have children in university already, and they still chat and they still come back to help my other parents. So I'm always happy to answer any questions, and if I can't, my parents will. Let's close that. So I'm hoping that has answered some of the questions. Does anybody have any frequently asked questions that I haven't thought about? Okay, maybe I was nice and thorough. Yes, Evangeline.
I just want to find out, do you think my child could be ready to write in October, November exams this year? Was that too soon?
Is this a question about age or ability? Is my
ability
October this year?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
So the course in that, I mean, if the student has already been working on the IGCSEs, because I've had that as well, where students have been working on the IGCSEs for a year and come to me. What I'll do in that case is I would basically test them and basically assess their abilities and see if they do, what gaps they need filling, and if that's going to fall into the rest of my curriculum between now and October. But my thing is, be careful about rushing it. If they do pass, and I will definitely give you the most honest feedback, and if they do pass and they're going to be ready, then sure, we can do that. I've got no problem. I can slot them in.
Okay, I understand. No, I think it's best I'd wait till next year then.
Yeah. I would honestly, in all honesty, 9 to 10 months, 11 months is kind of the minimum for all the preparation that we need to do. Is basically the idea. Is my suggestion. But some students are brilliant. I've had some smarter punters, but I would encourage the full course.
All right. Thank you.
Helen, you also wanted to ask a question?
Hi, can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Thanks so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. I can see you lots of fun. I don't have any specific questions about the course or anything. I've heard about you from friends here in Cape Town, so you come highly recommended.
Thank you very much to them.
If you can just send me a copy of the video that I can also have my husband and my son have a look at it.
Fabulous.
And I personally am very excited. I feel like enrolling with you.
Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay.
I always worry when they say, friends have recommended. I mean, I will admit that most of my parents come to me from recommendations. And then I always worry, what else have they told you about the crazy teacher, Nick?
It was all good stuff. All good. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, fabulous. Fantastic. Okay. For if you still have questions, I'll just pop my email address in. So it's nick.ferris3@gmail.com. Because I know that this email is also going to be sent. There's a big homeschooling group in, I think, Zambia. They've got some students that have been recommended as well. So that's why I say we'll probably be about 6 students. If you've got any other questions, if you think of anything you wanted to ask, please, you can drop me an email. If you've received an email from me, my number, you've got my WhatsApp. I'm trying, this year I've promised to be better on WhatsApp, but I'll be honest, I'm in class. So from pretty much 9 o'clock until about 3, 4 o'clock, I'm generally working in front of my computer. I don't look at my phone. And sometimes it takes me until when I'm going to bed when I look at my phone, but I do try very, very hard to look at my phone, after classes or first thing before I go into classes. Because I get a lot of like parents, we're sick, we're going to the movies, we're... So then I know that basically that student is not going to be there, which is always helpful. I'm going to yabber on otherwise, so I'm going to stop here. And if you do ever have any other questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you for coming and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Ta-ra, ta-ra.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, thank you. I don't just hang around just in case somebody's got something else they want to ask. Just got to push the little red button at the bottom with it. There we go. Okay, fab. Huh. Okay. Magnifique. Thank you, everybody.